Hey everybody, this is our first topic of the week video, topics chosen by our commenters. So thank you very much. We had a couple people comment talking about Game of Thrones and what it's going to be like for the viewers versus the readers now that the show looks like it's going to pass the books and finish first. My first thought is it's not going to affect me that much because I didn't start reading it until right before the show started.
Yeah, and I actually watched the first...
It was almost the whole season.
Yeah, I watched the first whole season before I even started the book. And then I read all of the books and caught up before the second season because I read very fast.
So we haven't been reading the books since the start. These things were first published... Well, the first book was published in 1996. So I think people who started reading in 96, it's almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I really feel for them because they've been invested in the books for so long, and now it's they're gonna get spoiled. The thing they fell in love with now is almost obsolete now that the show is going to finish first.
As a reader, you'd much rather the show be spoiled for you than the book be spoiled for you.
But then, how do you avoid the spoilers?
Yeah,
you got to avoid
like,
social media until he finishes the series.
So it is kind of a lose-lose situation for them. So I really feel for the people who have been waiting, because you wait a long time between books.
Yeah.
They're not fast, and to wait all that time and to have it just spoiled for you on TV, kind of not fun.
George R.R. Martin's not getting any younger, and I hate to say it, he doesn't look that healthy. So it is very conceivable that he might not live long enough to finish the books. So in that scenario, great. It's great that the show is going to keep going and the show is going to finish everything off.
If the show already knows what he's planning on doing in his book, then we'll at least know what he had planned. We'll know the TV version of what he had planned, not his specific version. And his specific version is just so much better.
Yeah.
It is really good that he's talked to the show and that they know what's going to be happening. Because then, we'll get at least some form of closure for the series.
I don't think it would be nearly as satisfying, though, as if I was able to read the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially because, well, they're very long books. And just the amount of hours that you spend flipping through those pages is more hours than you spend watching the show.
Oh, yeah.
Because what is it? It's 10 episodes a season, right? And they're an hour long. It's 10
That's
or 12.
10 hours.
It's 10 hours. It takes more than 10 hours. It takes me more than 10 hours to read those books.
I'm a really fast reader, and it takes me more than 10 hours.
So,
I think the very first book took me 2 days, basically, of nonstop reading to finish. So that's probably 10 hours a day, so that's like 20 hours right there.
As far as total hours of enjoyment, you just get more out of print than you do out of television. As you're reading and you have those words in front of you, you're in your own mind. So you're projecting much more of yourself into what you're reading. So it's just a more satisfying overall experience.
Yeah.
And you just can't get that from television.
Yeah.
Not to crap on the show. The show's amazing.
The show's great.
One of the top 3 best shows on television right now. But it just can't compare to the novels.
Yeah. If they surpass the book, I now no longer know what's going to be in the book, and so I have no basis of comparison for what just happened on the show. Therefore, I might not dump on the show as much.
Yeah.
The last season was kind of disappointing because they changed so many things that I really, really didn't want them to change. The biggest one was Zombie
Caitlin.
Caitlin, yeah.
No, Lady Stoneheart for
Lady Stoneheart.
For the people who are sticklers for the actual. She's Zombie Caitlin. Come on.
Yeah, Zombie Caitlin. They decided not to do her, and I am so disappointed that they didn't bring that character in.
I've read a few interviews with George R.R. Martin talking about this exact subject, and some of the quotes that he's given, I don't have actual quotes, I'll just give you the gist of what he said, was basically people need to stop whining about spoilers. That was kind of one of them. And the other one was people need to be more patient and just get off his back about when these things are going to be finished. And I understand the sentiment of the second one.
We had talked about this the other day, about how, it takes him so long to put out a book. However, his books are some of the best books I've ever read, ever in my entire life. and it's probably because he took so long to write them.
The painstaking amount of
Yeah.
detail that he puts into
You
them.
can tell.
It boggles the mind when you really think about it. But the whole people whining about spoilers because now the show is going to spoil the books, and it almost seems disrespectful to his readers.
Yeah, it does. Especially the readers who've been around since
Who've been
1996 when it first
invested
came
for
out.
20 years.
It's very disrespectful for them, for him to be like, "Huh, so you're gonna get spoiled, whatever. Get over it."
It was also brought up in either a comment or a direct message, I don't remember, of do I think George R. R. Martin has sold out? I don't think he's sold out. I think he doesn't respect his audience as much as he used to.
I imagine that there are quite a few fans who get on his case about taking so long to write a book.
And that's going to get old really fast.
Yeah, and that's going to get annoying. And you, if you get that over and over and over again, you're going to feel like your fans don't respect you. Why should you respect them?
Right. So you really can't get on his back too bad about taking too long. What you can get on his back about is his response to that. Because, yeah, I understand the emotion of, guys, get off my back. They'll be done when they're done. But you don't put that out there for your audience. If he knew from the get-go that the show was going to pass him up,
Yeah, and I don't think he did.
Wildly irresponsible, and maybe you could make the case for selling out at that point. But
Yeah.
I don't think that was really what he was doing. I
No.
really think that he thought he could finish the series
Yeah.
before the show caught up to him. And he was just wrong, which, I mean, should he know himself better than that? Absolutely. But at the same time,
This is a complex story. When you're writing, you can't just sit down and write. You have to be inspired, you have to have ideas, and that's when you sit down and write. And that's when you get that gold that is in his books. And you can't really predict that.
and he has to have super extensive outlines, and he's just got to go through basically every single word on every single page, because when you read through it, the books are basically flawless. And let's say the show took a 2-year hiatus. Imagine how the people who
Don't read.
who don't read or who don't enjoy reading for whatever reason. I mean, why don't you enjoy reading, first of all? But if you don't, and then the show went on a 2 or 3 year hiatus, waiting for him to catch up, they would feel just the same way as the people who are invested in the books are.
Yeah.
So
How I feel is I'd much rather the books came out before the show. However, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I understand why they are doing it, and I am okay with it.
and again, since
yeah.
we haven't been reading since '96.
Yeah.
For those of you who have been, you have my deepest sympathies.
Yes. I'm so sorry.
I guess that's about it for this time. Thank you very much for watching.
And tell us what you thought down in the comments below. Are you one of those people who's been reading since 1996?
Rant.
Yes, rant. We want to hear what you have to say about this. And if you're one of those people who doesn't read, who hasn't read any of the books and simply just watches the TV, what are your opinions on this? We want to know. And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe.